Hey there, I'm Taryn. I'm the creator of The Vaccine Mom. If you want to know a little bit more about me, you can head on over to thevaccinemom.com and check out my credentials and a little bit more about my story. But here today we're going to talk about the history of vaccines. Well, not the whole history, but about Mr. Edward Jenner. Well, he's not a mister, he's actually a doctor. So, Dr. Edward Jenner. We call him the father of vaccines, and you're going to find out why. Here he is. That's Edward, or Dr. Jenner. This guy is our father of vaccines, and he's the one who really helped set the foundation of immunology, which is the study of the immune system. He led us to our modern vaccinations, and it's been estimated that he saved more human lives than any other person in history. Of course, he didn't do it alone, so we can't give him all the credit. Many came before and many came after him, but when it comes to our powerful vaccine technology, I'm going to go ahead and focus on this guy. He's been the driving force behind all of this. Okay, set scene. It's 1764 in a small town called Berkeley in Gloucestershire, England. Okay, I can't say it. I'm sorry. This guy, Edward, he's just a boy of 13, and you wouldn't find him hunched over an iPad or tablet like these kids today. No, this guy, he loves cutting and he loves scalpels. Well, like all little boys that love cutting and scalpels way back in the day, he got himself an apprenticeship with a local surgeon. Following Edward's time in that cutting room, he went to study medicine and an actual school in London. Well, there he studied everything. Natural science, biology, chemistry, zoology, geology, all kinds of things. And of course, number one, medicine. So after his schooling, he returned back home to that Gloucestershire. I need to learn how to say those names, but I'm probably not going to get them right. Anyway, so now at this time, it's like the mid 1700s, and smallpox has taken hold of all these communities over in Europe. So let me tell you a little bit about smallpox, because this is one of the biggest parts of Dr. Jenner's story. Oh, look at this poor baby. She was afflicted with smallpox. This is a contagious virus with serious consequences. So you can see the raised, firm pustules. They're like little peas under the skin. They cover her face and I'm sure are covering her body too, because that's just what they did. This was nasty. These pustules eventually scabbed over though, and most people who survived were covered with disfiguring scars all over their bodies, especially their faces. At this time in Europe, around 400,000 people died annually of the smallpox virus, and a third of those who caught it but survived went blind. The fatality rate in newborns at the time was anywhere from 80 to 98% in the late 1800s. That's huge, you guys. 3 out of every 10 people with the disease died from it. And when I said late 1800s, remember it's the 1700s. So that would have been an even bigger number back then. But here's what they did know, and what we know about diseases today. People who survived the smallpox were immune to it. Okay, well that makes sense. We know that now. You get a disease, you're probably not going to get it again, right? Unless it's the flu, but that's a whole different story. So we say now they developed immunity to the disease. Well, they didn't quite know that back then. But one of the things that they did know is that those people who caught smallpox weren't going to catch it again. So they could go ahead and take care of those people who were sick with the smallpox. Now, something else they noticed is that back then, their dairymaids, those women who milked the cows, they were not getting smallpox. So what happened? Back then, and it's still around today, however, super, super rare, many cows are coming down with this disease called cowpox. Well, here's a photo. The cowpox is just as it sounds. It's a mild viral infection that the cows got, and they got these little pock marks on their bodies and udders, and just a little bit of discomfort, but that was about it. It was common belief that the dairymaids at the time rarely got smallpox. They did, however, often come down with the cowpox. Well, this was super mild in humans, and it only caused a little bit of malaise and a few pox on the hands and arms. Well, remember that guy Edward we were talking about, Dr. Jenner? He took interest in these protective effects of cowpox. So in 1796, Edward heard a dairymaid say, "I shall never have smallpox, for I have had cowpox. I shall never have an ugly pockmarked face." Well, this guy, Edward, he started putting it all together. So he came up with these two theories. Number one, after being infected with cowpox, the person had immunity to smallpox. Okay. And number two, this immunity could flow from person to person and even may be used on purpose as a way of protecting against the smallpox. In other terms, he could make people develop immunity to the smallpox disease by infecting them with cowpox. This is not exactly the same as vaccines are today, but pretty darn similar. Well, here's where this all begins. May 1796, Edward found Sara Nelmes. She's a dairymaid who had fresh cowpox lesions on her hands and arms. She had come to him thinking she had smallpox, remember? He's a doctor. He knew it wasn't smallpox though, instead, cowpox. So he went for it. He scraped some of that matter from those lesions on her hands, took that matter and put it right into an 8-year-old boy named James Phipps. On May 14th, 1796, he made a few scratches on one of James's arms and rubbed the cowpox matter right in there, like one does. At first, James developed a bit of a fever and discomfort in the armpits, which we now know are major areas of lymph nodes. So that means he got sick. 9 days after James had had the cowpox rubbed into his body, he felt cold, lost his appetite. Somehow, on the 10th day, he felt much better. Wish my kids got better that fast. According to Edward, theory number 2 was confirmed. Cowpox could be passed from cow to person, as with Sara, the dairymaid, and also from person to person, from Sara to James. Okay, 2 months later, in July, Edward got a bit more gutsy and did the same experiment on James with the matter from a smallpox lesion instead of a cowpox lesion. Well, guess what? James never came down with the smallpox, thus confirming theory number 1. Inoculation with cowpox led to immunity to smallpox. What did Edward Jenner do with this information? Scroll on down and click on part 2. You're gonna love hearing about this. All right, thanks for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And don't forget to head on over to thevaccinemom.com to check out more.